Welcome back, everyone. We are on day 3 of our topic of saving faith. Yesterday, we looked at John chapter 1, verse 12, and we looked at the two aspects of faith that we know is pleasing to God. The first is that moment where you accept Jesus, and the second is this continuous, ongoing belief. It is a faith that is growing and being strengthened, and that's what God desires for us. We looked at that in John chapter 1, verse 12, and today I want to actually turn to another passage in the book of Colossians that further explains and also reiterates to us the similar message. So this is actually a really interesting part for us as people who've been studying with the devotions, because we actually looked at this passage as a part of our previous series, which was the peace of God. And we read Colossians chapter 1, verse 20. So I'm actually going to start at verse 20, and we're going to go all the way down to verse 23. And we're going to read what the Bible says. And through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross. Once you were alienated from God and were enemies in your minds because of your evil behavior, but now he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death to present you holy in his sight, without blemish and free from accusation, if you continue your faith, established and firm, and do not move from the hope held out in the gospel. This is the gospel that you heard and that has been proclaimed to every creature under heaven, and of which I, Paul, have become a servant. Now, we talked about this in the peace of God to say that because of the cross and because of Jesus's blood, we have peace. And he has been able to give us peace despite the chaotic world we live in, because of the blood and because of the cross. And now, verse 23 reminds us that we were once far from this, and we had no idea that we could be living a life of peace, but because of the cross, we can, and we know that. And that's what that middle part of verse 23 says. It says, if you continue in your faith, established and firm. The first part is to have this established and firm knowing that Jesus died on the cross, he rose again, he shed his blood, he stands victorious. He gave us salvation. That is the first moment of faith, and it should be firm within us. It's the beginning. It's like the starting point of a person's walk with Christ. The second thing, though, happens right before that. It says, if you continue in your faith. So we have this root. We know that Jesus is victorious and that he has died for us and he shed his blood so we can live with his peace. We have his providence. He gives us hope. But it's a continuous walk. That is something that you and I should not forget. Day in and day out, it's a continuous walk. It's not static. It's not stagnant. It doesn't run dry. But it is something that day by day we continuously walk by. To know the peace of God is there even when you don't feel the peace of God is faith. Because you know what Jesus did on the cross, you can have faith and the peace of God will be there. To know the future you hope for, even though you can't see that future, but to know that that will come to pass is what faith is. And this is the faith that is pleasing to God, and this is the faith that he desires us to have. I hope that you can come back tomorrow as we continuously study, but meditate on this throughout the night, and I'm excited to dig a little deeper into our two aspects of faith. God bless you.